The sports world has had many voices speak out after video emerged of Jacob Blake, a black man in Wisconsin who was shot in the back several times by police. Milwaukee Bucks guard George Hill was asked about it. Take a listen.
I mean, we can't do anything. First of all, we shouldn't even came to this damn place, to be honest. I think coming here just took all the focal points off of what the issues are. But we're here, so it is what it is. You know, we can't do anything from right here, but I think definitely when this all settles, you know, some things need to be done. I think this world has to change. I think our police department has to change. Us as a society has to change.
Shannon, your reaction to what he said?
Skip, George, first, you wouldn't think that Wisconsin and maybe Milwaukee would have the issues that they have with the black and the police, but Milwaukee's have a very troubled past. Very, very, very troubled.
I know that.
Yeah, we know that. But I think sometimes...
By the way, George Floyd was murdered in...
Minnesota.
Thank you.
And Skip, for me, the emotions that George Hill and a lot of the black athletes and a lot of black people, especially the athletes, let's just take the people in the bubble, the emotion is raw because we see another black man, 7 shots to the back in front of his kids. And we're like, wow, here we go again. The George Floyd happened 3 months ago, and somehow we're still here. Breonna Taylor happened, 6 months ago. Aubrey happened in Brunswick in February, and it's still happening. Unfortunately, George Hill, it's hard for me to see a scenario or believe that had you not gone to the bubble, this would not have happened. Because there's a system in place, and there's a operating procedure that the police have been able to operate for hundreds of years with impunity. They don't have a problem. They're going to go, the Supreme Court says, hey, if you have a threat, be it real or perceived, it is okay for you to use deadly force. So, Skip, I felt that he was going for something. I felt that my life was in danger. I felt I was at risk. I have the right to use deadly force. They do not, and people are like, well, why don't they shoot? Because they're not taught to shoot to injure. They're shot to shoot center mass, shoot to kill. And that's what they do. And until first of all, the one thing we're gonna have to put politicians in that want to, you gotta break the stranglehold that the police union have. They're far, far too powerful. Skip, I should not be, first of all, you should not be able to do something and then you get 48 hours, you get 72 hours before the police can interview you. And then I got to give you all the information, all the evidence I have against you. They don't do that in the regular court. They don't do that to a regular criminal.
They do not.
It's heartbreaking that we watch this and we see this happen. Skip, we see they bring this, Chris Paul mentioned Jacob Blake. LeBron mentioned Jacob Blake. Mike Budenholzer. They mentioning these guys by name. They're mentioning Breonna Taylor. Say her name. That's what they say their names. How many more? George Floyd, they're mentioning them. And police are still pop, like it's nothing. Because you know why, Skip? They're going to get that administrative leave. They're going to still get your administrative leave. You still get paid. And then guess what? They're going to find where he used the proper amount of force because he felt his life or the guy was reaching for something. And then what they do is that they paint the guy. And everybody that is okay with police officers killing unarmed men, they're going to go back. Well, you remember back in 10th grade, he shoplifted. And now what you do, you sully up the victim. Like at that point in time, the officer knew that this guy had a prior history or he had done something. Skip, it's just sad. But unfortunately, George Hill, I don't believe had you not gone to the bubble, this senseless act could have been prevented. I don't believe any of these acts could have been prevented by these guys not going to the bubble.
I hear you. Okay, I want to say it one more time. Your community, the black community, is still facing a horrifying problem in this country of white policemen shooting, murdering unarmed black men and women.
Right.
It's a horrifying problem, and I get it. It's one you can't sleep at night over. Can I go out? Can I drive my car? Am I going to get shot in the back?
Right.
And it happened again, albeit in Wisconsin, We didn't see that coming maybe, but it's happening all over this country. So I'm still right there. It has not been fixed yet. There are not enough consequences.
Correct.
Maybe there will be in Minneapolis. Maybe there will be. We'll see. But as much as George Hill's heart was breaking, as he said, and as much respect as I have for him, because he's a good man, he's been a solid citizen and a tough guy and a competitor, and all that is, I give him high marks in every category, sort of on and off the court. This hit me out of left field, like, George, what are you saying? Because he did choose to go to the bubble, and then he dismisses the bubble as we shouldn't have come to this damn place. This damn place. Okay, now think about the impact of this. In this damn place, Commissioner Silver and everybody else involved, from LeBron and CP3 on down, have managed to avoid one positive virus test that I know of. Right. That's a spectacular achievement this late into the bubble. Right. Not one positive test. I'm going to knock on wood for them. It is working. I'm not saying it has worked, but it is working. Correct. So George Hill, as a veteran, as a 34-year-old, should respect that, because he chose to be part of this team. Right. And he didn't just choose to be part of the Trailblazers or the Nets. He chose to be part of the team with the best record in all of basketball. Right. The one that is favored in most betting houses by most odds makers to win this year's championship. And that's unfair to make that statement to your teammates and your coaching staff and your executives who are down there, all for one, one for all, because you always say two things can be true. Right. Well, there are two things that can be accomplished here. You can make all kinds of statements for racial and social justice while you're in the bubble. Yes. In fact, the stage you're provided in the bubble, and the irony of him making that comment, he's being interviewed by the mass media. Right. Some of them are distant, it's virtual, but George Hill last night was potentially speaking to millions of people when he spoke that. Correct. So it just hit me wrong, because it's not fair to the team to make that statement when, to your point, again, I would have been all for George Hill opting out. Right. Avery Bradley opted out, others out, and just opted out. Just didn't want to go for whatever reason, but it seemed like Avery's was racial justice issue. Good for you. I'm all for it. I think he has a son. I think he has a son. He did. He had another issue. He did. Yeah. I got it. There are those different reasons, personal, otherwise. But if your reason to opt out was to continue to campaign and sort of strike while that iron was at its hottest right now for racial justice, I'm great with that. And if George Hill had opted out, I'd be great with that. But he didn't opt out. He opted in, and now they're about to finish off Orlando, and they're going to have a tough second round against a hot Miami team. Yes. So here we go. And why would you make that statement, except I'm trying to give him a little break because his heart's broken. Right. This was shocking to him. But to your point,
that's in the state where he plays. So it's very close.
I got it. I got it. But what could he have done at home if he had opted out? What could he do to further the cause that he couldn't do in the bubble? I can make a strong case you can do a lot more in the bubble because you're on national TV every other night.
And what you're trying to do is bring attention to, shed light, bring light to a situation. Yes. So you can do that better in the bubble, because think about it, Skip. There's 4 games on every single day. Every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every single day. And you see Black Lives Matter. Say her name. Respect.
I see it all.
Yes.
And I told you, and you discounted the messages on their back because you said you want action. You want something that actually matters. And I told you, the white people need to see those things on their back every night. I see them every night. And it always gives me cause to pause. I think, he chose that. That's interesting. Right. So George Hill chose justice now. Okay. Not the most powerful statement, but there have been others that make me stop and think, ooh, I hadn't thought of that. I love vote. I love any of those like a provocative one word. As a white person, it makes me stop and think, yeah, it reminds me of the time we're in right now and how the door has at least cracked open for racial justice. And we are leaping on this incident in Kenosha in damning it. We are condemning it.
Right.
Like,
even
no.
Aaron Rodgers has released a statement.
Yes.
The Packers, I think
Yes.
the Bucks have released
They
a statement, and several others.
Well, at least that's a little bit of progress.
But the thing is, I don't want to give too much credit because that's the right thing to do. I don't like to give credit for doing the right thing. Well, he stopped at the stop sign. Well, that's what you should do.
Okay.
Well, he didn't run the red light. Well, you shouldn't run the red light. But for me, Skip, it's hard to see a scenario, and I know George Hill, his heart breaks, Skip.
Got it.
Because when it affects you differently when people look like you.